Alright, so the first dev diary for Elite Dangerous Odyssey was released today, and hopefully you've already checked out or will check out many of the commentating videos from some of the major players in the Elite Dangerous community. I've already watched all the Burr Pit, the Down to Earth Astronomy, whoever else I could find that's put out videos on it. But they seem to have given it fairly positive comments. I liked it. I thought it was really cool. If you don't know yet, which I would hope if you're watching a video about Elite Dangerous you do know, there's a major expansion coming at the beginning of next year called Odyssey. Odyssey is going to provide the ability to leave the ships on foot. Currently, you can land a ship on a planet, get out in an SRV, which is a rover, and use that to explore, do various different kinds of missions, interacting with facilities on planets, things like that. That in itself is pretty cool. I've actually really loved this game since I got into it a couple months ago. Obviously, it's got me doing YouTube videos about it, but the promise of getting out on foot and walking around in first person has apparently always been there, and now we're finally going to begin at least beginning next year. So we got our first kind of look at that. Graphically, it looks incredible. What the dev diary primarily seemed to focus on was the new planetary environments and what they're bringing to the game, specifically for exploration. Exploration is probably my favorite aspect, and it seems to be probably the most popular form of play in Elite Dangerous. I mean, if I'm wrong, that's possible. That's fine. That's just what I've seen. Combat is obviously quite popular, but that seems to be like certain people. That's really what they're into. This will feature combat, but I think that that's going to come along in future dev diaries, that they will probably, as we get closer to the launch of Odyssey, we'll see a lot more regarding the really big features that they know people want to see, whether it's the first person shooting aspect, or whether it's the ability to walk around inside your ships or stations. But for now, I think we got a pretty good look at the potential for this update. Currently, you can land on planets with no atmosphere. Generally, they're rocky planets. I think that there's some ice bodies you can land on. I'm not sure. I don't really quite remember. But I'm not going to say that the planets are ugly, just because I do understand the technical side that goes into this. But they are a little bit featureless when you think about like what you see in some other games. Granted, like for instance, say a No Man's Sky, yes, there's like flourishing habitats and plants and animals and ecosystems and all that kind of stuff. And then of course there's weather and all that. I will say though, there's a pretty major difference between No Man's Sky and Elite Dangerous, and that is Elite Dangerous is realistic. No Man's Sky is not even remotely close to being realistic. It's kind of just like Candyland. So it's pretty easy to be like, oh yeah, simulate these types of things, when you really don't care about realism. I'm not making that as a dig at No Man's Sky. I'm just saying when you contrast the two, it's hard to say, oh well, why doesn't Elite Dangerous have this? Well, Elite Dangerous goes for realism, which means you have a lot of just little non-atmospheric, rocky little planets that don't have animals and life on them, because, evolution snapping life up is probably not as common as, one might think. But anyways, currently, you have fairly featureless planets. Like, there's mountain ranges and canyons and craters. And that's about it. You can't land on planets that have any kind of an atmosphere, which actually includes many small rocky and ice type planets and stuff. that don't really have much else going on, but they have an atmosphere because the way the game simulated it, it was like, oh, this would be a planet that would have an atmosphere. We can't land there. This update will allow that, and that will bring some incredible new effects. If you watch the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. Like having blue skies, to fly around in will be so different, than currently where you just have, a black sky. Having what seems to be fog and cloud effects to change the lighting. There's also going to be very, very enhanced texturing and modeling for these planets. So your ice planets will have like much cooler, much more interesting and realistic like ice outcroppings and stuff, and your rocky planets will be the same. And then there's even going to be the addition of some plants. Like there's a couple plants that grow right now. I believe they're just some Thargoid type stuff. I haven't seen anything else. There is going to be the addition of like actual flora that will be, obviously it's fictional, but fairly realistic for what could possibly be found out there in the types of environments that the game may spawn with these atmospheric planets. And you'll be able to like land, go look for stuff, and you'll have a new hand scanner that you can scan the DNA of these plants and take samples that you get to get rewards for. It's just going to add a whole new layer of exploration. Now instead of just, well, not just, but right now you fly into a system, you map it, like what I'm doing right now, and then you can pick planets to go land on, or shoot probes at and map, and then you can go land on them and explore them and look at their features and all that kind of stuff. But this is going to add even more reason to actually like get down on the ground, boots on the ground, and look around and try and find things. And who knows? Besides plants, there may be more. Frontier Development seems to hide a lot of interesting secrets within their games, and I'm gonna bet that there's gonna be something new hidden within this update. I mean, I'm currently working for this Dark Wheel initiative, trying to turn the Dark Wheel, trying to find Raxla, all that kind of stuff. It's actually why I just took a journey that was like 2,000 light years from the bubble, because I was transporting a passenger for the Dark Wheel on an exploration mission, and now I'll get to take them back and also take all this exploration data back with me, so that'll be fun. But either way, there's always seems to be kind of like baked in secrets and things that people can try to discover or will randomly come across. So I'm hoping that with the fact that we're now going to be able to get out on foot and wander around planets, like, okay, what sorts of things might we find on these planets? Maybe, I think it would be really cool, like, they haven't shown anything like this yet, but if there was like cave systems that you could explore, and maybe if you find cave systems that you could find relics or something, I don't know. I just want there to be more depth to it, and adding these new features of gameplay, flying around planets that have atmospheres, landing on them, walking around on foot, scanning plants. I mean, this is all really cool stuff, and this is just the exploration side of it. Like I said, there's probably many more dev diaries on the way, and they will highlight other popular subjects like, combat, first-person combat. Are we going to have conflict zones on planetary surfaces? I think one of the community members I watched their video earlier had brought this up. Either that or a comment on their video did. But like, imagine that. Like right now, you can fly into systems and it'll tell you you're entering a conflict zone. You drop out of Super Cruise and there's a whole bunch of NPCs fighting each other. You can pick a side, and then other players I think can join in. Imagine landing on a planet, like having it say this specific planet is a conflict zone. And so you land somewhere on that planet, and boom, there's SRVs jumping around, shooting each other. There's fighters flying around, maybe ships in, like low orbit, flying around in the atmosphere, shooting each other. Soldiers on the ground. I know this is getting pretty big, imaginative stuff here, but still, it could be possible that this could be features in this game. And I think planetary conflict zones would be a really cool idea. Like, combat is not even my favorite part of this game by far, yet I think that would be really cool, and it would make so many people happy that do love conflict or combat. Like, imagine going into a system that's at war, fighting a conflict zone, and then you're like, alright, well, I'm going to land now on the nearby planet that's a conflict zone. You go down there and you join up sides and you continue the fight there. I think it would just be fantastic. Especially if they found more ways to get more players doing these things together. I think one of my few gripes with this game is not that it's grindy. Like, of course it's grindy. It's an MMO that is open-ended. Don't talk about freaking grindy. I mean, it's not a story-based game. As much as I love single-player story-based games, it's not what this is. This is a game where you make your own career, you make your own adventure, and you interact with other players at the same time. That's why you play this game. And for people that want to sit and complain about being grindy all the time, it's like, well, I think you're just playing the wrong game, because you're not making this your story. You're not making this your adventure. I just went on this trip that took me 2,000 light years from the bubble, the main inhabited area of space. And when it was time to go to bed, I would pick a planet in one of the systems I was passing by, and I would land on that planet and then exit the game. And I remember when I logged off, I would think, I should start writing a story, logs of some sort, talking about the day's adventures and how we stopped overnight on this planet and, yada, yada, yada. I don't know. That might be going a little too creative, but the whole point is the concept of this is your game, your adventure. Take ownership of it. Don't sit there and beg the devs to make the adventure for you. They've provided the universe, an incredible, pretty realistic universe, and the open-ended nature of it is so that you can go into that universe and you make what you will. So enjoy what you got and be excited for what's coming. This is just going to add an entire new multiple layers of gameplay and opportunity for adventure and story, whether it's exploration, combat. I'm interested to see if they add something interesting and new to trade, or player interaction. Like they've talked about having hubs. Imagine flying into a star dock or landing on the surface of a planet where you have an outpost, and you land there and you go into the outpost. And you get out of your ship, you walk through the airlock, you're in the outpost. And what it would do is, by going to an airlock, you load into a central hub for that entire outpost or that entire star dock. So say you're at a star dock where there's 10 ships are landed, and you go through that airlock, you load into a hub where all players that have come in there are loaded in. And you go to your mission board to pick up missions. You go to the trading center to do your trading. You go over here to do your outfitting, buy modules or something like that. And then you can interact with other players. Imagine that. Like, seeing other players, talking to them, quote, face to face, and deciding you want to join up in a wing or a squadron or trade something. Like, that would be interesting. Like, again, there's a lot that has not been revealed yet, and I might be getting ahead of it, or ahead of myself by talking about it, but I think the potential is there for a lot of really cool things. And whether it comes in this update or not, imagine that. Like, if they add the ability for us to leave our ships and walk around on foot, all the additional little things that could come along either at the same time or down the road. I would love to be able to, buy customized ships or sell customized ships. There's people out there that do crazy stuff, all this crazy work to engineer a ship, get Guardian modules and all this kind of stuff, and build these amazing ships. Now imagine if they could do that and then turn around to somebody who maybe doesn't do all that work, but has put in a lot of work in mining or exploration, has earned a crap load of money. and then they could go to the Star Dock, go to a shipyard, and find player-built ships and buy those. Now, they might be at quite the additional fee, but that might be worth it to them, and definitely worth it to the player who did the work to put it together. Anyways, that's just going off on another tangent, unrelated to Odyssey, but I think that this is the potential of this game. It's really a game with unlimited potential because it's a game that's the galaxy. So the point of this is to say I'm pretty excited about Odyssey. Go look up the Dev Diary. It's on the Elite Dangerous YouTube channel and the Xbox YouTube channel. They have it up there. I might put the link in the description. But one way or the other, go check it out. Be excited. And again, if you haven't played this game, check it out with us. I believe on Xbox Live right now, there's the Ultimate Game Sale. And this game is currently on sale for like $20 or $30, something. It's like half off or something for both the core version and the Horizons version. So if you're on Xbox, definitely go check that out. This would be a great time to buy. When I went to buy it in May, it was on sale for $20, and that got me into it. Go find it. Even if you can only find it for full price, it's 100% worth it. It might become your next addiction, and you may not play another game ever again. Just saying. Anyways, I'll catch you guys later.